It took me months of getting denied on Amazon to figure out exactly how Amazon's ungating system actually works. But once I did, I built a process that gets hundreds of sellers approved, even with brand new accounts. And by the end of this video, you should know exactly how to approach ungating in Amazon in 2026. And if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Faraj, scaled my Amazon business to multiple six figures in profit, reselling name brand products on Amazon. And I've also helped hundreds of beginners build and start profitable Amazon businesses. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this and really break down Amazon's ungating. It's been changing over the years, but this is going to be the most accurate, most representation in 2026. The strategy has been working for us for the last couple of months, and it's going to work for the end of the year. So let's go ahead and get into this. So before we talk about anything with ungating, we have to understand that there's 4 different statuses when you're selling on Amazon. So there's 4 stages that you're going to be in when you're selling on Amazon. There's ungated, right? A product that you can list day one, right? Like it's available to sell. You source it, you could add it to your storefront, you could get sales in the next 30 minutes. And there's also auto ungated products where, you literally get approved as soon as you apply for it. Instant, after a single minute, 1 to 2 minutes, you submit random piece of paper or something like that. This tends to happen more when you have a lot of sales history. We're going to talk about how to actually build that sales history in this video. And number 3 is actually gated products, right? This is where most of the position that most of you guys are probably in right now. And then number 4 is hard gated over here. So hard gated products over here, this is probably like the Dove, the Nikes, the Adidas, the big brands that you can't even apply to sell anymore, right? Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, right? And that's something that we cannot control, right? Most of the times, the only way you can sell these brands is if you got ungated maybe a year ago or 2 years ago and Amazon just stopped taking applications for them. But this is important, right? It's not the worst thing, because what's going to happen is when you're starting out right now, right? The brands that you get ungated for, maybe in 1 to 2 years, people stop taking applications. No, talk at that. I need the mic kind of closer. I need the mic a lot closer. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, these are the 4 statuses that you're going to be in: ungated, auto ungated, and then you have gated where you have to submit the invoice, and then hard gated. So now that we understand that, you're probably in one of these positions over here. Now, we have to understand the numbers, right? Out of 100 new sellers, 50% quit at the first gate, right? They source a profitable product, they get super excited, they can't sell it, and they overall just quit. 25% just, they stall out. They maybe source 3 to 4 or 5 different products, and then they can't get ungated, and then they decide to give up. 20% of sellers, they can't adapt to Amazon changing, Amazon's, because sometimes Amazon is going to be more tough when it comes to ungating. Sometimes Amazon is going to be more lenient. 20% of sellers won't be able to adapt. Right? And only like 5-10% of the sellers actually figure it out. But if you're watching this video, I'm going to give you the exact, this is everything that you're going to need that's working right now. And if it does change, I'll make an updated video on that. So the strategy right now, right? With week 1, the things that we are doing right now, I'll cut to this. So let's just say you're starting out, this is your first week, or you have under 200 sales. Right? This is the strategy that is working right now. You're going to use auto ungated lists for settle. You're going to find listings with sellers that have 0 to 10 reviews. You're going to reverse source their storefronts, and then you're going to list FBM immediately. The reason I like FBM is because instead of sending it to Amazon's fulfillment centers, you're able to list it and sell it as soon as possible. And I'm going to show you an example of how one of these listings actually worked. So this is an example of one of the auto ungated listings over here, right? Cologne for men, bourbon, vanilla. The reason this product, it's a big brand and it's auto ungated, is because this brand is misbranded. So if you check over here, right, it says Cremo brand over here. If you go to the pictures, it says Cremo. But if you actually look at the brand, right, let me get myself out the way. If you actually look at the brand over here, it says Buy Buzz. 7 results for Buy Buzz. So this is people who bypass the Amazon space. So if you look over here, the best way to identify if something is misbranded, if you click on the brand, right, and there's not any more Cremo products over here. If I go to Cremo, right, if I search on Amazon and I went Cremo, this is the actual brand over here. And you would see, because you would be able to visit the Cremo store over here. Let's go over here, cancel, and you click visit the Cremo store over here. So this is the actual brand. This is same product, right? Or different product, same brand, but this is not misbranded. And the reason this isn't misbranded is because if you click over here, visit the Cremo store, this is the actual Cremo store. But if you go back over here, let's go back to our product over here, it doesn't say Cremo. And that's the best way to identify if something is actually misbranded. And a lot of sellers make this mistake because they see, okay, the reason I'm able to sell this big name product is because it's misbranded, it's auto ungated, but they don't understand just because Amazon lets you sell it right now, Amazon could come and give you account health issues 3, 4, 5 months later. So it's never worth it to sell misbranded products. But what it is worth it to get on some of these listings, right? You can see that most of these sellers have 0 reviews. And these are the type of listings we want to reverse source when we're getting to our 200 plus sales. So if you check over here, this guy has 1 review, this guy has 1 review, this guy has 1 review. Just because all of these people are on these listings doesn't mean they're doing the right thing. Amazon tends to let people do the wrong thing on their platform and come 4 to 5 to 6 months later and kick them off. So these people look like they're getting away with it, but if you want to be long-term sustainable Amazon sellers, we wouldn't want to sell on a misbranded product just like this. But some value that we can take from this is we can click on these guys' storefronts, right? We could click on these guys' storefronts and see what type of products they're actually selling. So if I go into their storefront over here, right? If I go to their storefronts over here, they have this product, and I'll give you these products, right? Some of them might be misbranded, but some of them might actually be legit, that products that we could actually sell. So do you see how we kind of turn this misbranded product that we wouldn't be able to sell, we just turn this into this guy's storefront for other products. And then I could go to this product over here on Keepa and do the exact same thing. Because if you go over here on Keepa, we can go, okay, this guy has 1 review, this guy has 0 review. And we would be able to find one product, right? You could do the same thing that I'm doing right now by yourself. And you would be able to see all these people, all these newer sellers, the hit rate of finding profitable products with these auto ungated products. When you're reverse sourcing people less than 5 reviews, people less than 10 reviews, it's going to be much higher than you trying to reverse source Nike or something. And I'll give you an example of one of the products. Now, let me show you guys a product that just wouldn't make sense for us new sellers to reverse source. But guys, if you take a look at a product like this, right, this Nintendo product, sure, this is profitable, sure, this is a good arbitrageable product. But if you take a look at the Keepa chart, we're going to be reverse sourcing people that have 533 reviews. This guy has 428. This guy has 120. So that just wouldn't be feasible for us as beginners, right, to reverse source, because most of the products that we're reverse sourcing from them, they're probably profitable, but we wouldn't be able to actually sell them as new sellers. And this is where the sales first approach really comes into play, which I'm going to go into depth. So once you actually build up sales history, right? Once you build up sales history, what you guys have to understand with the auto ungated products, we're not looking for 30, 50, 100% ROI, right? We're not looking to make, 10K profit or 5K profit our first month. We're looking to build sales history so Amazon trusts us. And this is where most sellers fail off because they don't understand this. Most of the products that are going to make you most of the money, they're going to be gated. There's going to be kind of a wall behind it. So our whole strategy is how can we get over this wall as fast as possible? So once you get over that wall, right, this is where most sellers get kind of confused, right? You sold a couple hundred units, maybe you sold 50, 100, 150 units of these products, right? But what you can do now, your sourcing has probably gotten better, right? You're getting actual better at Amazon FBA, online arbitrage. You're getting better at sourcing. This is where you build your database of products. The reason you're building this database of products is most of the times, right? Most beginners, they just end up skipping, product that they can't sell, but they don't understand once they get to that sales history point, those 100, 200 plus units, those ungates, they're going to start going to 10 plus and they're going to wish they saved those products over here. And this is where the gates are going to start opening up. This is where you can submit 10 unit ungates from Target, PetSmart. You could submit order confirmations. And another issue or another thing people fall into is that sometimes they get denied a couple of times and then they end up giving up, right? We have some students that have been, submitting invoices for these brands that are super profitable and they've submitted 20 to 30 times. But when they finally got ungated, they understand and they're smiling because they know that most people aren't willing to fail that much, come back, submit again, submit again, submit again, submit again, submit again. And that's the moat that you're kind of building with this. This is why, right? I love this. I love this because I know the people that have this strategy, the people that are willing to do this, right, get over this. These are serious sellers that are looking to sell on Amazon for the next couple of years. And Amazon, right, we just have to adjust we just have to adjust to what they want us to do. So we're going to submit our 10 unit ungates via Target, via PetSmart, Frontier Co-op, all the, whatever suppliers, distributors, right? And after that, we're going to be building our database of products. And when you're building your database of products, right, this is how you're going to do. And when you're building your database of products, you're going to be leveraging military discount. If you're military, you're going to do sales, student discount, discounted gift cards, coupons, rewards programs. If the products aren't profitable, you could track them with Keepa. But you're building an ecosystem. You're building your catalog of products. And even if you can't sell them, that's totally okay. Because when you initially start selling on Amazon, like many of the brands are going to start asking you for 100 plus. But what you're going to notice as soon as you get to that 204, 208, many of those 100 plus units, 200 plus units that you're thinking, how am I going to get a documentation for, 200, 300 plus units of this? How is that even feasible, right? What you're going to start to notice is that these brands are going to go down to 10 plus. And some of these are going to be auto ungated. Some of these products, some of the students that started, for me, like 4 or 5 months ago, some of them, they submit a random document and they're going to get auto ungated. And that just goes to show, how Amazon grades people's accounts, right? Once you become a 6-figure seller, you have this on easy mode. The hardest part is getting there. Once you get the momentum and ball rolling and you start building your sourcing skills, this becomes very easy. And I just want to instill that belief into you guys. So phase 3, once you really hammer in the strategy, let's just say you're doing 10, 15K per month, this is where you really separate yourself, right? This is where, you're kind of building with. This is where, let's just say, this is where you're building up sales history. You're really doing the strategy to the T, right? You're doing 100, maybe 10, 20, 25K per month. This is where you could figure out how to separate yourself from the people that just started, right? Because you're going to realize most of the auto-ungated products, most of the brands that are already selling, these brands, right? Most of them, they're going to tank. Like if something is available to everybody, most of the times these sellers are going to get on it and the listings are going to tank. So this is where you build a moat in your business. Most of the time, this is going to be to those 300, 400 plus unit ungates. And this is where you can use suppliers and distributors to actually get those invoices. And most of the times, you're not going to be taking a loss on those. You're not going to take a loss on ungating because you can return it. And if you don't return it, you could pay a small restocking fee. And if you don't want to pay the restocking fee, you could just sell the product at a break even. So break even, that means you're profiting maybe 5% ROI, or maybe you're breaking even. So you're spending, $2,000, but you're getting $2,000 back, but you're building up sales history and you're building leverage in your account. But this is higher level stuff. So now let's talk about some strategical pillars, some things that we need to kind of focus on to approach our business. And this is some beliefs that we've instilled into some of our students that have actually just, have been helping them get from 2K in their first month, like 20K in their second month. Or one of our students that we're working with, we're doing a series. If you want to check out I'm doing a series where I'm getting a student from, I think we're getting him to his first $10,000 per month, and we're documenting every single day. And this is the exact strategy he's running. And he was able to do, let me just pop it up right now. He was able to do a ridiculous, I think he did 3K in his third week selling on Amazon, and he's following this exact same strategy. Yeah, so over here, second week of selling on Amazon, he's putting laughing emojis, but it's pretty ridiculous. This is somebody that's he had a 1K day. I think he finished at 1.3. This is someone that really embodied the strategy, and this is, this isn't like guesswork, or this isn't like something that we're kind of guessing on. This is the exact strategies that are kind of working on right now. But the first thing, right, the first pillar that I want you guys to understand is just, right, the more sales you actually have, the more Amazon is actually going to trust you, right? Some brands will flip to auto ungate, right? So the sales first approach is the approach that's working this year, right? The second thing is the blue ocean brands, right? Like most people, they end up spending their first couple of months just focusing on Nike, Adidas, you know, Dove, Lululemon, all these brands, right? That as a new seller, you're just not going to be able to sell. And what I kind of want to put, like the mindset shift that I kind of want to put onto you guys is there's so many brands out there. There's so much opportunity on Amazon. There's so much arbitrageable opportunity. That's why we make videos like this, right? If there wasn't this much opportunity, I probably wouldn't be dropping this much value. But there's so many brands that you can sell, and you only need a couple of ASINs to hit your first $10,000 in a single month. Like there's so many different brands, mid-sized brands, regional brands that you could eat off of that you don't even need Nike, Adidas, and all these people. So just instilling that, because you probably might see like a bunch of Instagram videos here, sell Dove, sell Nike, sell everything like that. And yeah, you don't need that. And then the next thing is, if you want to be super proactive and you want to move fast, right? FBA, like you always want to FBM just to start off, right? Because you could buy today, sell today, right? One of the strategies that we've been working on with our newer students was we've been kind of doing a lot of order pickups, right? We've been doing a lot of order pickups, you know, if we know a product is in store, right? Sometimes for shipping, for online arbitrage, if we ship it to our house, it's sold out. But if we go in store, if we go to all the Walmarts in our stores, there's like 5, 7, 10 units. And once we get to 200 units, we could stop doing that and we could start, you know, selling the bigger brands. So the faster you get to sales, the faster you get better at ungating. So yeah. But at the end of the day, think of your account. But at the end of the day, understand that Amazon's AI system is flawed, right? Think about Amazon. You know, sometimes they'll deny perfect invoices, right? So really hammering the strategy that 10, 15, 20, doing what these other sellers aren't willing to do. And really just understanding that one category ungate, if you get ungated for 100, 200, 300 plus unit ungate, that could really be the difference between you know, having access to a brand that's going to make you $15, $20, $25,000 in a quarter profit, right? Then you just not being able to sell and getting on listings that already tank. But I mean, yeah, if you do this, if you follow the strategy to the T, I promise you guys, I don't promise you guys. I guarantee you guys, ungating is going to be a breeze on Amazon. And yeah, so make sure you guys implement, make sure you guys rewatch this video. If you guys have any questions, yeah, make sure you guys like and comment, subscribe. Let's go.
All right, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys got some value from this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you've already started Amazon and you've been struggling, or you need some extra help, or you're looking to start Amazon, click the first link down in the description to book a one-on-one call to see how we can help you start and scale.